Spent the past week and a half laboring over how I'm going to start this project and how I'm going to introduce how much I love monster designs. But can anything I really say do justice to just how freaking cool some monster designs are? I genuinely love monster designs. I adore the fact that a scary movie or a scary video game with a great monster can make the difference between a sprint to the bathroom and a leisurely walk in the middle of the night. You couldn't play Dark Souls or Monster Hunter and get the same feel out of it with a monster that looks like this, could you? I think the late night sprints just go to show how much power monster designs have over our human conscious. The power these monster designs have over us is worth celebrating. After weeks of going back and forth on what this video should be, I think I really just want to make a video on celebrating monster designs and what they really are and what they're worth. In this video, I'll be discussing monsters from the cute and adorable to the disgusting and wretched monsters. So disgusting and wretched that you might want to watch this on your squatty potty before, an accident might happen. I'll be going over what I believe are some solid foundations for monster design, the pillars that they're built upon, and a few of my favorite examples of monsters that coincide with each of these pillars. After doing research for this topic and watching lots of examples of other videos and essays that people have done about this, I believe I've come up with 4 characteristics for what I believe make great monster designs. These characteristics being in no particular order: the environment, the emotional appeal, believability, and the mystery factor. One of the best examples of monsters benefiting and coinciding with their environment to make both the better, I believe, would be Five Nights at Freddy's, actually. Scott Cawthon does an amazing job of using these animatronic characters, which already spark an innate fear in most people, and putting them in an environment where they really thrive. If these characters were put in a different place, like take Lake Hylia, for example, it'd be weird. A broken down pizza parlor in the middle of the night with so many mysteries surrounding it, with monsters that laugh like children and animatronics that move almost inhumanly, but humanly, I think has to be a great example of symbiosis between a monster and its environment. Another great example of this would be from the movie The Ritual. In that movie, there's a massive monster that almost looks like the trees. A deer head with almost human shapes. It's terrifyingly creepy, and it blends into its forest. In the movie, we find a cult worshipping this monster. This develops a relationship with the monster, the forest, and the people there. This forest that these hikers have wandered into is no longer just a forest. It's a forest with ancient history and ancient people and an ancient way of living. Monsters are really great at evoking emotional responses. Whether those responses will be like, "aw," or "bleh," really depends on the monster. And I think the best monsters are the monsters that evoke the most emotion within us. So let's sit down for a therapy session and take a minute to talk about our feelings. This right here is one of my favorite monsters, which might be weird because it doesn't really look like a monster. But Jesus Christ, is Eevee just adorable. Its fluffy tail and just the way it's shaped, it's so cute. This monster here is from Dark Souls. It's called the Gaping Dragon. Just the way its mouth is and the teeth. It's just disgusting. This girl from Ring makes me want to never turn on my TV again or look at it at the nighttime. Here's a few examples of my favorites that evoke different emotions. These little slimes from Dragon Quest just make me want to squish their little face. They're so hilarious. This thing from Parasite makes me honestly disgusted with a human face. Totoro just feels and looks so cozy and warm, and he's so nice looking. He makes me want to love him and hug him so bad. All of these monsters are so popular and memorable because of how strong the emotions they evoke in us are. Believability in a monster is a tightrope that designers have to walk. Too much fantasy and your monster's gonna look like this. And too much believability makes a monster that comes home from his 9 to 5 to eat ramen, only socialize on social media, and watch anime before going to bed before doing it all again. I don't think you can talk about believability and monster designs without automatically thinking of Monster Hunter. These monsters are hyper-realistic with designs like the Anjanath and its almost real-to-life dinosaur inspirations, the banana-haired lizard, the Jagras, or the iconic Rathalos. The designers behind these characters are honestly incredible, taking every aspect and inspiration behind these dinosaurs, or monsters I should say, into consideration and to making them as hyper-realistic as possible, while at the same time not crossing the border of too realistic or too fantastical. Some of my all-time favorite monsters are monsters that make me want to learn more about them and make me constantly ask more questions than what I'm given information for. After asking around, I've come to the conclusion that the one monster people tend to ask more questions about, which I completely understand, is the Guardian. The way it moves, the way it turns its head, the way it shoots lasers out of its eyes, the way it's so technologically advanced in a rundown world is one of my favorite parts about the Guardian's design. These monsters that make me want to ask more questions are the monsters that really tend to pull me into the world because of whether that be looking them up and joining a community or just falling in love with the monster itself. Monsters are great, and there's so much put into designing the best monsters. So hopefully after all this, you can see why I like them so much, and why you should too.